Hi everyone. Today's question is about the herb Cryptolepis. So the question goes, can Cryptolepis be administered to a 4-year-old child? My grandson 3 months ago was infected with Lyme from a tick, but we live in Europe and the doctors here do not use this plant. We need help. We don't know how many drops we could give him. Can you help us with advice, please? So yeah, I'm really sorry to hear about your grandson's health issues, and I hope he's feeling better ASAP. As per usual, I'm not able to give any advice, any medical advice over social media. This video is for informational purposes only, and please work with a healthcare provider directly if you need that advice. As I replied to you on the comment, if you would like me to consult on your grandson's case, just email my front desk, and I'm happy to we can set something up. So that information there is in the comment section. I guess a couple of things, a couple of thoughts come up here. So I mean, the one is that if a child, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, whatever, a child of any age really, has a tick bite and develops Lyme disease, the standard of care treatment is to use antibiotics. As a naturopathic doctor, as a functional medicine practitioner, I prefer not to use antibiotics unless they absolutely have to be used, if that seems to be the best choice, because I want to take good care of my microbiome, my patients' microbiomes and our guts and whatnot. But at the same time, when there's conditions like Lyme, it can really go south. It can create a lot of health issues if it's not treated really efficiently. And we just know from the research literature that the success rate for treating Lyme using antibiotics is really quite high. And then in my experience, the vast majority of patients who go on antibiotics, especially if they're taking a good probiotic at the same time, it's quite rare that they have side effects. Now, I mean, there might be exceptions to the rule, like fluoroquinolone antibiotics can sometimes go really south and create fluoroquinolone toxicity, and there's different exceptions out there. But the standard antibiotic would typically be amoxicillin, and unless somebody's allergic to it, then it's if for a child for Lyme. Unless they're allergic to that antibiotic, then it's generally safe and well tolerated. It doesn't tend to decimate the gut microbiome, but especially if a probiotic's being used, like a good probiotic is being used at the same time, then it's generally quite well tolerated. That's just kind of the one general caveat. Again, I don't know the whole case, and again, I'm not giving any medical advice here, but just generally, antibiotics are really strongly worth considering when it's a case of acute Lyme disease. Now, get into chronic chronic Lyme, as they call it, or persistent borreliosis, different kettle of fish, and antibiotics are, depending on the case, going to be of maybe more questionable benefit, depending on the case and who you talk to and different treatment options that are available. So with that being said, when it comes to Cryptolepis and children, I don't know that I've ever successfully administered or recommended, or I don't know if I've ever successfully had a pediatric patient who has taken Cryptolepis, and that's because Cryptolepis tastes really bad. It is very bitter. It's a wonderful herb, great therapeutic effects. The video that this comment was posted on was about, I titled something like "The Best Herb for Borreliosis," and indeed in the in vitro studies that have been done, the petri dish studies that have been done, Cryptolepis does seem to be hands down the best herb at treating Borrelia. However, it tastes really bad, and if the child won't take the medication, or if the child is going to be traumatized trying to get them to take the medication, it might be better to work with other options. So in my clinic, we have a combination. We call it the pediatric systemic antimicrobial tincture. In my other videos, I've talked about the kind of combination of 8 different herbs that we use typically together as more of a broad spectrum treatment when we're going after known or suspected systemic infections. So we have a pediatric version of that, and it's basically comprised of some of the same herbs. They're just the ones that taste the least bad. And quite frankly, if they're mixed in juice or something like a smoothie, something that has like a sweeter taste to it, they're really not too bad, in my opinion. And I say that bearing in mind that I do have atypical naturopathic taste buds. I tasted a lot of vile things, but I feel like objectively it's certainly not nearly as gross as certain other things that I've recommended. So the herbs that have the least offensive taste to them, in my opinion and in my experience, are the herbs Sida, S-I-D-A, Alcornia, Chinese skullcap, and Houtunia. Now, with Houtunia, to my understanding, the fresh herb, if that's turned into a tincture, which is, to my understanding, a more potent form of the herb, it tastes really bad. The dried Houtunia, it does not really taste that bad, and that's what we have. It's very, very challenging to get fresh Houtunia in these here parts, so we're left with the dried Houtunia, which seems to work just fine, but evidently the fresh form is stronger but also tastes bad. So I'm referring to all these in a tincture form, so an alcohol-based extract, and that would be Houtunia in a dried form. So those are the herbs that I would typically use myself for my pediatric patients. As I've said in many other videos, I'm unfortunately not able to give any dosage advice or whatnot, and I very much want to help people, but for safety reasons and because my regulatory college forbids it, I can't give any health advice over social media, just kind of information for folks to consider. So I'm sorry I can't help more directly than that. So I hope that this answered the question. I hope this gave useful information. I know it didn't directly answer the question because you're asking for treatment advice, but I can't give that over social media. I hope that this information was useful, though. If anybody has any questions or comments about this topic or anything else, please feel free to post in the comment section below, and I will leave it there for now.